Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to take what might feel like a disconnected, totally abstract set of math rules, and we're going to transform them into a highly organized, super powerful mathematical toolkit. By the time we're done here, you'll have exactly what you need to absolutely master sixth grade fraction operations and actually use them in your everyday life. To show you why this toolkit is a real game changer, I want to drop you straight into a real-world dilemma. Picture Amari and Ethan. They are throwing an end-of-season soccer party for their team. They just got back from the store with exactly 45 hot dogs and 30 individual bags of chips. The problem? They need to make sure every single person at this party gets the exact same amount of food. So let's dive right in. We need to figure out the absolute greatest number of people we can feed without having a single hot dog or bag of chips left over. We can't just guess here, right? We need a bulletproof method to break these quantities down into their core components. And this is exactly where our math toolkit comes to the rescue. Here is our roadmap for building this toolkit. First up, factors, multiples, and foundations. Second, adding and subtracting fractions. Third, multiplying fractions visually. Fourth, dividing fractions made easy. And finally, real-world math applications. Let's get to it.
All right, part one, factors, multiples, and foundations.
Let's lay down the absolute bedrock here. Notice how these two foundational tools perfectly contrast with each other. First, we have the greatest common factor, or GCF. This is your go-to when you are breaking things apart into groups. Think back to Amari and Ethan. By finding the GCF of 45 hot dogs and 30 bags of chips, we discover the largest factor they share is 15. Bam! They can feed exactly 15 people evenly. On the flip side, the least common multiple, or LCM, is all about predicting when repeating events will finally align. Say your neighborhood has trash pickup every 7 days and recycling every 12 days. Finding the LCM tells us both trucks will show up on the exact same day in 84 days. You're building forward, not breaking down. Moving right along to part two, adding and subtracting fractions. With our foundation firmly in place, let's reach back into the toolkit and tackle the tricky hurdles of adding and subtracting. The big thing here is that when you subtract mixed numbers, you sometimes hit a wall where the top fraction is just smaller than the bottom fraction. You can't just subtract normally. You have to use a tool called regrouping. Honestly, it's just a fancy mathematical way of saying you take one of your whole numbers and break it into fractional pieces to make the math work. Working with eighths, borrow a whole number and turn it into 8/8. Working in fifths, one whole becomes 5/5. It is literally like breaking a crisp $1 bill into 4 quarters so you actually have enough change for the vending machine. All right, part three. We're getting visual, multiplying fractions. Okay, quick question for you. Ever since you first learned multiplication, you've probably assumed that multiplying two numbers always makes things bigger, right? 5 times 4 is 20, makes sense. But what happens when you multiply two fractions that are both less than 1? Does the number still get bigger? Well, actually, no way. This absolutely brilliant area model proves it. When you multiply a fraction by another fraction, you're essentially just finding a fraction times of a fraction. Notice the shading here. We're only capturing that overlapping area where the two original fractions intersect. This perfectly shows that multiplying two fractions less than 1 gives you a much smaller piece of the whole. Your product shrinks. Here's another fantastic way to visualize it. You've got horizontal divisions for one fraction, vertical divisions for the other. That deepest shaded region right in the middle, the overlap, that is our product. It completely confirms what a lot of people find counterintuitive at first. A fraction of a fraction shrinks the final amount. Anytime a number is multiplied by a fraction less than 1, you're gonna get a smaller product. Every time. So how do we do this efficiently without busting out a grid and drawing boxes every single time? Simple. Just follow these 4 mechanical steps. They work for proper fractions, improper fractions, the whole shebang. Step 1, change any mixed number into an improper fraction. Step 2, multiply your numerators straight across. Step 3, multiply the denominators straight across. And finally, step 4, simplify your result. It's a ridiculously clean, efficient algorithm. Which brings us to part 4, dividing fractions made easy. Now for the absolute climax of our math journey today. We're pulling out the heaviest tool in the kit to conquer fraction division. Your secret weapon here? The reciprocal. A reciprocal is literally just the flipped version of a fraction. 3/4 simply becomes 4/3. And the magical rule of mathematics is that dividing by a rational number is exactly the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. When you multiply a fraction by its reciprocal, they totally cancel each other out, leaving you with a product of exactly 1.
Check out how this messy division problem instantly transforms. 5/12 divided by 2/5? Yeah, that looks complicated. But by applying our rule, we just multiply by the reciprocal instead. It turns into 5/12 multiplied by 5/2. We just turned a headache of a division problem into a super simple multiplication problem, which we already know how to crush by multiplying straight across.
To lock this standard algorithm into your brain forever, just remember this simple rhythm. Keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction exactly the same. Change the division sign to multiplication. Flip the second fraction to find its reciprocal. Keep, change, flip. After that, you just execute step 4, multiply across and simplify. It genuinely makes division a total breeze. And finally, part 5, real-world math applications. Okay, we've built our foundation, we've got our tools, now it's time to put this completed toolkit to the ultimate test in the real world. Imagine you're working in a bakery. You are staring down this massive 15-pound bag of sugar, and you need to portion it out for the week. Your storage containers only hold 7/8 of a pound each. When you face real-world word problems like this, always ask yourself 2 critical questions. What exactly is being split up? And what is the size of the groups? Here, the 15-pound bag is what's being split up, so that goes first. We're dividing it by the size of the groups, which is 7/8. Boom! Our problem is 15 divided by 7/8. So we set it up. 15 over 1 divided by 7 over 8. Time for our trusty keep, change, flip. We keep the 15 over 1, change to multiplication, and flip to 8 over 7. Multiply straight across, and we get 120 over 7. When we simplify that improper fraction down, we find out we can fill exactly 17 whole containers with just a tiny bit left over in the bag, specifically 1/7 of a pound. And there it is. You officially have the ultimate structured toolkit for 6th grade fraction operations. From predicting schedules with LCM, to visually shrinking fractions with multiplication, to slicing through division with keep, change, flip. This math isn't just a bunch of numbers on a chalkboard anymore. It's a legitimate way to efficiently organize the world around you. So take these tools, look around your daily life, and ask yourself, what real-world problem are you going to solve next? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep on learning.